This is Gary Atencio with CNTV, and today we're in Colorado. I'm here with Mission Critical Teams. Since 2012, they have been giving companies headlights into their future, helping them identify and eliminate obstructions to healthy, sustainable growth. I'm joined with the owner, Kate. Thanks so much for joining us here today.
Thanks, Gary. Nice to be here.
Prior to forming your first company in 2000, you had 20 plus years in management and leadership roles, forming and forging cross-functional teams. Through the years, you have continued your specialized education as a licensed program leader, graduating Coach University, and becoming a growth curve specialist. Drawing on your own experience and powerful results-driven methodologies, you've developed alignment and plans that enhance performance and the bottom line for many companies. Share with me a little bit how business consulting got started for you.
Oh gosh. Well, I had the last company that I was in before I started my practice. We had been acquired 5 times in 7 years. And I said, that's enough of that. I wanted to be on the other side of it because as the organization grew, it became less entrepreneurial. And I like working in that entrepreneurial space of about 250 or fewer employees.
The entrepreneurial space is definitely something you're focused on. I mean, as companies have moved now beyond the year of 2020, do you think we are now more open to discovering new ways of working together and putting innovative approaches into practice? And is that really kind of the first step, just being open to new methods?
That's totally the first step. I like to call it, I like to refer to my clients as learning CEOs. And many of them are younger, right? They're in their 30s and their 40s, so they haven't been around the block too long. They've been trying to figure it out as they go, and they know that it's time to reach out and get some support to help them navigate those tricky challenges of growing an entrepreneurial business.
Interesting. I mean, success of a company can be complex, but is leadership performance and team optimization really still the cornerstone and the two primary functional areas within an organization?
Well, it's morphed a bit over the years, actually quite a bit. So let me see if I can put this succinctly. I work with business owners who want to grow their business, and my programs help them identify the beneath the surface issues that are causing constrictions in their ability to grow sustainably. And so typically when a client hires me, they hire me to help them identify, anticipate, and navigate through those predictable challenges that all businesses go through as they grow in the areas of operations and strategy and leadership. And so they're able to step back and reframe the way they think about the problems and actually see around the corner in a somewhat predictable way.
Speaking of seeing around the corner, I mean, let's face it, we could all benefit from a crystal ball where we can see the future. And in business, even more so. Your claim is a predictive process that foresees what pain a company will be facing in each stage of their growth. I mean, that alone sounds like a game changer to me. Explain what that is and why it kind of makes your company unique.
Absolutely. Well, we're definitely differentiated. We work with a research-based model. And this model tells us how businesses, entrepreneurial businesses specifically, of 1 to 500 people, how they grow, 1 to 500 people. And there are 7 distinct stages that these entrepreneurial businesses go through. And what's distinguishing is that as you add people, the complexity increases. And so companies and the leaders then are subject to very specific rules for that particular stage of growth. Understand that, be able to read the patterns and the characteristics, and you'll succeed. And, work against that, and your probability of stumbling for sure, possibly even failure, it goes up.
For sure. In order for you to help see the future of a company, you must first diagnose the present. By getting to the root of challenges, digging deep into identity to identify patterns, maybe even trends, does a diagnosis take place at multiple levels of the organization?
Diagnosis is a process that I use at the beginning of working with a customer, with a client. And we use growth-specific assessments that look at that really help identify their top 5 challenges in making sure that they're addressing the top challenges for their stage of growth. We also help them then uncover where there's too much caution or confidence in the organization. So if there's too much caution, then they're going to be slow to make decisions. They're going to miss opportunities. If there's too much confidence, they often think, well, you know what? I've been here before. If I just keep doing the same thing without checking with the consequences, then that's okay. That can be too much confidence. And then we also then help them, and this is the real crux of the diagnosis, okay, is we help them drill down to the root cause of what is causing their issues so that they then get the truth about how they need to think differently about the business.
So those 2 C's together, you have to be aware of both of them. I'm sure many people are guilty of confidence as well as caution in different areas. As a leader,
that balance, you need a little bit of both. It's just if you've got one outweighing the other.
It's dependent on where you are in your growth.
Exactly. I mean, as a leader myself, I spend much of my time firefighting. Most of my energy is spent at a task at hand. Do you feel many never even take the time to look beneath the surface? And can this daily task priority mindset be broken?
The second question first, yes, it can, if they're willing and they do the work. You know, growing a business is hard. And entrepreneurs are just wired to fix things. They're great problem solvers. And so what will often happen is they'll know that there's an issue that needs to be addressed. And so they'll put a lot of time and energy in trying to figure it out, only to learn that if they have not identified the real issue, they're working on symptoms, then the solution that they put in place doesn't work. And so the problem keeps happening over and over again.
Interesting. I mean, so you identify obstacles in the diagnose phase. Is simply removing these obstacles and bad habits enough? Or do we need to fill that void with a plan? And is this really where the strategy and alignment takes place?
Yeah, that's absolutely the case. So, I mean, you can create a great plan, and that's what we do when we begin working with them. We have this diagnostic approach. If I go away, they're going to revert back to what they've been doing because they've got stuff firing at them every day, right? They're at the tyranny of the many. And so it really is then the back end of that is all about the execution. You've got to have a strong plan. Do we know where we're going? Are we following up and are we holding ourselves accountable to those top initiatives that we uncover in the diagnostic phase?
I mean, so alignment is key because even the best plan is useless if there isn't a shared understanding of that plan. Is this where leadership and an optimized team can truly work together? And is this really the foundation for seeing some real results in your organization?
It is. And so, you know, what I like about the way that I work is everybody gets heard. And so it does bring up some conflict periodically because you're going to have, especially with, you know, entrepreneurial leaders, you're going to have some pretty strong opinions. So while the diagnostic tools are helpful, it's really about the dialogue and fleshing out what the team aligns around as their top issues and their top initiatives to address those. And then that's when we put in the action plan and follow up. Every month.
In reality, the stats say that many companies can possibly get to this plan or strategy stage, and yet the stats show that the average team achieves only 63% of its strategic objectives. Some reports out there as low as 10% that actually execute that strategy. Is execution where rubber hits the road, and is accountability and communication what you can teach companies out there?
Yes, because, you know, those stats are based on how well the team communicates, how well they align around the top initiatives, and how well they hold themselves accountable. No kidding, what they're on the hook for to execute on what they said is most important.
I mean, these critical steps create the roadmap to follow. But as we know in business, the road can constantly change. How is tracking results, maintaining alignment, enforcing accountability, are all these part of what you teach so that they don't revert back to what they were doing originally?
It's part of what I teach, and I'll say more clearly, perhaps facilitate. I mean, they're the ones that are doing the work, but they don't know what they don't know. And so, and this is why I enjoy working with them for 6 months or 12 months or longer as the company grows, is because there are going to be a lot of ups and downs and a lot of curves and a lot of changes. So you can always course correct if you know what's coming, as opposed to just looking in the rear view mirror and saying, oh, that was there. If we can course correct, then we can pivot to meet the needs of what the business requires at that time.
Kate, for decades, you have helped business owners build healthy, sustainable organizations. You provide them with really headlights into their future so that they can uncover and solve problems quickly. Your focus becomes their focus, which is basically not tasks and really on results. That's the bottom line. Does this continue to be rewarding for you?
I love it. It is absolutely, my clients, one client, for example, achieved 104% improvement on their top initiatives that we identified in only 7 months. So it is about getting the results, which is why I stay with my clients through that execution phase, as opposed to just doing the plan and walking away.
That is great. I'm glad our viewers got to be introduced to your organization today. Viewers, let's take a look at the bottom of the screen right there. What you're going to see is her website. On the website, you can see all the services they provide. I mean, really see their approach in detail. You can learn the 7 stages of entrepreneurial growth right there on the site. Then regardless of what stage you're in, you can reach out today. Their approach will give your team the skills, tools, systems, and support that they need. Once again, that is Mission Critical Teams, navigating the challenges of business growth. This is Gary Atencio with CNTV, and if you don't know, now you know.